Terrifyingly fast, and why players are fearing Damascus and why fans are favoring Damascus to go as far as they're predicting.
Damascus Gaming are your Region 1 NCSA champion!
Nice, excited. Has him in the corner, got to deal with the nonsense again. Oh my gosh.
But yet another young all-star on their way up. Chuleta with the W here tonight for TNS number 6.
And should Gambler not drop this should be it. Gambler shall make top 8 with the pop-off.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, if you are here in the Americas, and good afternoon and good evening to everyone else. We are here live on the Damascus Esports channel as we are getting ready for week 2 of Beacon League Division 1, following Neil as our main guy. I hope he would be our main guy, but we are getting ready for our next match, and I have to say, it's going to be a doozy one. Looking at last week's matches, Neil coming in second place, unfortunately had a little mishap in his first match where he probably could have won, but unfortunately, things happen, game slips, but, not a big deal, as Neil was still able to take second place over some pretty big names, like Megorian and Paco and NRGZ. Looking at the second match, Neil had to take on Bozbez, Barbos, and Nico, unfortunately coming in fourth place, so that put him in 10th place overall in the standings, but thankfully, because he had a best lap, he was also able to steal a couple extra points, so that actually keeps him over in Barbos, who's in 11th place. So today, we are looking at our first match of 2. His first match will be versing Richie, Marsley, and Binks. So we got some pretty well-known names in here. It's gonna be it's gonna be a bit of a doozy of a match, if I can say. I know I'm pretty well versed with Richie and Binks. Marsley, I personally don't know that well. Unfortunately, I don't know too much. I don't know too much of the the entire European scene. So excuse me. Also, if I have a couple little hacks and snips here and there, it is winter time. It is snowing out. I am not feeling at my peak, but hopefully, I took all of Neil's sickness from last year, or last week, I should say, and now he should feel better, and I'll be the one that's sick. But we're getting into this game now, so let's get it on your screen. Let's check this one out. Again, Marsley, Binks, and Richie, we will be taking on. Neil will be following through the entire way. And the match is just about to get underway. There are too many players. Not sure what that means. I honestly don't know what this means. I don't know if it means like maybe there's too many casters or something. I guess we'll just wait for some information. But that's pretty interesting. Personally, never seen that before. All right, so we are just currently waiting to see what's going on with the server. Hopefully I'll get some news in a bit. Okay, here we go. Are we good now? We do have Neil's coach, Yek, in the chat. I'm too fat for the server. Yeah, probably. My game instantly crashed, and then that's what happened, so I'm not sure what happened. Thankfully, I'm not the one actually doing the production on the end. We do have Moodles in the background who is helping me with the production. Okay. Did I slim up? I did. I slimmed up. Good. We're good. Not too heavy for the server anymore. All right, so good luck, have fun to all of them as we are going to be getting underway. A little bit of a warm-up. And we will be starting with Miata by Kerberos. And what's really cool about a lot of these maps is that there seems to be like kind of like a theme, something close to what the World Tour was doing in the championship, where there tends to be more of one or two things, not exactly 100%, but close to. So we will see. World record on this map is 1 minute 9 seconds. And so it's a 109.605. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on these times and seeing how close these guys are going to be able to pull it off. Top 10 is a 0.87. And this should be interesting. It looks like in the warm-up, everyone was going for the risky. What's really cool about this map is that at that jump you saw there were 3 arrows, and these guys could pick easy, medium, or hard. So it's one of those, how you really feeling? How you feeling today on this match? So there we go. The warm-up is completed. Good luck, have fun to everyone, because this is going to be a tight match. Off on the first round. This is Reverse Cup, for anyone that is just tuning in for the first time. Basically, you have a health bar. You got 100 HP, and each round it depletes little by little, and it all depends on what position you are. First place, you don't really lose health. Last place, you take big damage, and that's exactly how Reverse Cup works. And this is a great start for Neil up in front. The only player to really contest him is Binks, who is currently 0.13 and falling behind with a 0.4. Ooh. Just looking around on everyone else's, Binks ends up making a mistake. So Neil is just hanging out in the front. He just has to make sure that he plays smart. He does play with HUD off, so for Neil, he is constantly pushing the entire time. But Neil's doing a good job going for the risky jump. Oh, but he clips, unfortunately, and that's going to allow Marsley to pass by. Binks not too far behind. And Neil losing all that speed, unfortunately. And just like that, Neil falls all the way down into 4th place. And that's one of the downsides of constantly playing with your HUD off, is that you would have no idea where you are. And just like that, Neil had a free round and ends up coming in last place. So as you could see, it's a -0, -4, -7, -10. Those are the points we're going to be looking at. So Neil, unfortunately, will take the biggest hit out of everyone in round 1. And it will be 4 rounds per map. So we will get a good cycle of maps going in to this first match of the day. Good start as everyone stays in the pack. Neil is starting to push up ahead a little bit. But everyone's still within a second of each other, and Neil, unfortunately, hitting that wall. Little uncharacteristic of Neil, unfortunately. He's just having a rough time getting itself started. So, on board with Marsley, who's up in front. Binks is going to be the one falling behind. And Richie will get up ahead. Oh, but Binks is starting to actually push up. He gets up into 2nd place. Not too far from Richie. 0.9. Goes for the risky jump. And actually, Neil still pretty far behind, but Marsley is also dropping it back a little bit. Well, Binks up, trying to find a way to catch up to Richie. That's not going to happen. Over a second away. And we already are looking at everything. Neil will be taking the safe strat into the finish line. Rough 2 matches. We're just waking up. We're just waking up. It's early in the morning for us NA players, so give it a little bit of a second. We'll shake it out. This is a good map for Neil, though. This is, I would say, this is one of the better maps for Neil. So once he shake all the rust off, and I'm not saying like Neil is hasn't practiced all week. I know he's been practicing. I see him practicing all week. Dude's probably still scratching all the Sandman dust out of his eyes, and unfortunately, doesn't seem like he's got all of it out of his eyes. He did not see how close he was to that wall, and Neil is going to be out again for another round. He'll be jumping up ahead to Richie's POV and seeing anyone makes a mistake and allow Neil to kind of come back through the slaloms of the sausage. Binks with a good lead right now, up ahead. Marsley just looking for an opening. Richie playing in a little bit safe on that that outside dirt. But Binks is showing no mercy right now. He is playing this map extraordinary. No airtime for all 3 players up front. Oh, Marsley ends up making a mistake. Richie's going to be able to snipe here. And Neil will be catching up with everybody at the end there. But yeah, Richie taking advantage of Marsley's mistake there. It's only losing 4 points. Binks currently sitting at 92. Marsley will slip on under. And that gives Richie 2nd place. Neil will have to fight from the bottom. Looks like I'm going to have to do a little bit of a band hammer in the chat. Excuse me, folks. It's not over till it's over, though, folks. That's the one beautiful thing about cup mode and reverse cup mode. You can just be hanging out in finalist mode, or last chance mode, as they call it now in reverse cup. As long as you don't come in last place, it's not a big deal. So Neil, again, in the pack now. Oh, my goodness. I'm not allowed to say his name. I'm not allowed to say his name. Every time I say something, Neil, unfortunately, makes a mistake. Back up in front again. Marsley is trying to make a push on Richie. Richie's still holding strong in 2nd place, but he has been playing that outside a little bit safe. No, this time he definitely risks that outside dirt. Make sure they keeps that speed, don't overturn. Marsley is starting to fall behind from the crew. Richie able to actually find a potential opening. He does. Gets in there. Oh my goodness. That's a pretty good time and a great round between Binks and Richie. Neil just having a rough beginning here. Looks like he's going to have to really shake things up now. You know, sometimes the pressure of the names can affect you. I mean, you are versing G1 Binks, so it can be a little bit of a rough one. But we are moving on to the next map, which is Ruby. And during the qualifiers, we did see Neil kick some butt on this map, so I'm not too worried. But it really just comes down again to Neil, and he just has to wake up a little bit. Players will get a round of warm-up. They can play through the whole thing if they want. They can, they all DNF. We move on into the match right away. But it looks like everyone's going to really take advantage of this warm-up, and I don't blame them. This is a relatively tricky map by CLM. As you can see in the warm-up, he definitely has the pace to take on these guys. Just, I don't know, maybe nerves are kicking in or something. I know Neil wasn't feeling well last week. I did hang out with him a little bit this week. He wasn't hacking up a storm in my ear this time. So he's probably just still in recovery mode. Really tight grass turn there too, and that could play a big effect on how everything is. Thank God this is a warm-up. But everyone's taking their time right now to just make sure they can get those lines locked in as we are about to start into our next map. Neil, unfortunately, is really sitting down at 60 points. Starting to trail away from everyone else. Just needs to get out of that mistake mode. Wake up and try to shake it up. Smell the beans in the morning, boys. We don't smell roses in the morning. We smell coffee beans. All right. Good start for Neil here. And Marceline's starting to fall a little bit behind in the back. Into the no engine. And Binks and Neil will be looking to go head-to-head here. Binks makes a mistake, so that's going to allow Neil to hold the front, but still has Richie, 0.03, within a car length. Richie just trying to find any way to get a push into first place, but he's taking his turns a little bit too wide. And that's going to extend the lead for Neil, but Richie doing a really good job through this dirt line. Still can't find that opening. Binks and Marsley, especially Marsley, just fell completely out of the pack. Here we come. We saw that clip happening, and Neil was able to avoid that. Oh, but then hits the wall right at the end and puts him in last place. It is just not happening. Yeah. Even in the chat, Neil puts a little smiley face. You knew that one hurt. You knew that one hurt. But, again, it just shows what Neil can do. He just needs to lock in. Maybe safeten it up a little bit, but unfortunately with this kind of lobby, it is hard to say the word safe. And my terms of safe would be, not taking outside dirt and just riding a little bit farther from the edge. For these guys' sake of driving safe would be not driving against the wall on an outside dirt. So we're looking for Neil to finally have a round of just not bonking. These maps are brutal. So it's still just impressive that these guys can just get not only a clean round, but like a fast, clean round. World record on this map is a 1 minute and 10 seconds, .555. Last round, we saw people pretty close to that time. It's a rather slow map when you really think about it compared to all the other maps, but it's still demanding such a car control. Neil, good round. Finally, not taking last place. This is it. This is where Neil starts to wake up. 111.08. That is still within the top 20s of time. 2 out of 3 rounds, the penultimate round of this map here on Ruby. I would definitely say Neil saved that round a little bit more. But now you finally have that round where you break the ice. Confidence starts to kick back in a little bit. You tell yourself, all right, I could do this. I was able to make it through. Oh, Neil taking that really close to the edge there. A little wide on that dirt. That's going to allow Richie to get up in front. Marsley has a little bit more speed than Neil as well, and trying to get up ahead, but nicely done through the grass allows Neil to put himself up in front. Again, you got to be really taking these plastic turns as tight as possible. Not turning your car too much, not allowing the overslide to happen. Coming towards the end of this map here. You're going to have to try to take every turn as tight as possible, but we know the dreaded pole is up ahead. You jump into this water, get out into the dirt, and try to stay as tight as possible to the right without clipping anything. Oh, and just like that. Unfortunately, Neil will be the one to make that clip and putting himself back in last place. These guys are you know, these mappers are brutal. Last round, Neil falling down to 36 points. Remember, it is reverse cup, so Neil can go all the way down to last chance, but as long as he's not in last place every round, he could be in 3rd place every round and still survive. Good start. I'm gonna pass for other people and just let it all happen this round. Banks ends up falling behind early. Not really sure what happened. Marsley trying to make that push for 2nd place, but Richie's got about a 0.23 lead and growing. Richie really just trying to push any line he can get. What an insane outside dirt by Richie. A lot of space and a lot of speed coming out of that one. I'll put him up into 1st place. Marsley trying to push his way back into the pack. Oh, and the dreaded clip happens, and Neil, unfortunately, another round. Ugh, it's just not looking good if you are a DG fan. Oh, uh-oh. Oh, no. I'm getting DMs. Trying to do my managerial duties as well. Random the Mud is calling you. You know, the hard part about Trackmania right now is that just so much is going on. It is very easy to start feeling that burnout. Unfortunately, it's looking like it may be hitting Neil. And I don't blame him. Especially for NA, we have just been getting bombarded with so many events, and it starts to put a toll on you, you know, mentally, physically. I made my announcement last night that after PATC, I'm going to be taking a break from Trackmania. And it's rough. So hopefully at this point, He'll be able to shake it off and push out the last bit of gas hanging on in the tank. Squeeze it out, siphon it out, whatever he's got to do. All right, on to Meltdown. By mime, so you know it's going to be a tough match. Or a tough map, I should say. I think Neil was sitting around the top 5 during qualifiers in his qualifier rounds. We'll see if Neil will be able to bounce back after having some rough first few maps. Great outside dirt there from everyone. No one really giving up any space right now. No one staying in the pack into the outside ice. 360. And another one for you to finish it off. Oh, Marsley and Binks will both make a mistake. So now Richie and Neil fighting it up front. Richie doing a really good job just pushing ahead. Going to put Neil about 0.17 behind. He's trying to close in any way as possible into the final part here. That is the ice. Come on up and get the jump. We'll take second place. Only -4 compared to the -10 we've seen all week. But that is always a start. If we can just have a few more rounds just like that, that'll allow everyone to catch up. On to the second round of Meltdown. Pretty pretty ironic map to go on to after having some rough matches or rough maps ahead, or before, I mean. It's a perfect name for it. Binks and Richie up in front, Neil and Marsley having 2 separate packs going on right now. Binks and Marsley made a mistake in this ice part last round. Well, it looks like everyone was able to get a clean round. Neil was able to get up there, and just as I said that, Binks slides out. Neil, I think, ended up touching the wall a tiny bit. So that's going to allow Marsley to get up in front. Neil's going to try to get a little bit of a push here. Richie just hanging out in front. Pretty much a free round for Richie as long as he plays it cleanly. But it is ice. Anything can happen. Ooh, and good try by Neil. About 0.2 behind. And wow, that is a very nice time. A 108.7. World record is a 108.5 flat. That is a top. That is basically right outside the top 10 best times. Richie feeling himself on this map. This grass reactor is just brutal. But luckily, because it's grass reactor, even a small clip like that, you are able to stay in the match. So Neil, even though he did get that touch not too far from the pack, at this point has to play off everyone's mistakes while still trying to keep a good pace through the map. Richie still leading this one as Binks will follow. Marsley and Binks have been really struggling with this ice turn. They'll either nail the 360 and then slide out, but Binks didn't slide out but went wide, and that allowed Neil to come up in second place. Richie still way up in the front. He is really feeling this map. This must be his favorite map. Marsley just fallen ever so slightly behind. And Binks and Neil are going to be head-to-head on this one, trying to fight for that second place to not lose as much points. Richie will be up in front. 108.9, still an amazing time up ahead. Neil will take second place and slow the bleeding down a little bit more. Starting to see Neil come alive here. Maybe just need that little bit of pep talk. Last round here on Meltdown. Besides Richie, everyone else is starting to make their way and trickle down in their health bars. And as I said that, Richie ends up getting a bump at the end there. So now, or excuse me, at the beginning there, So this is a good opportunity for the other 3 players to take advantage and not lose as many points. Someone is going to get that -0. And it's
This
not
is the
going to be
voice of Moodles. I need you to start complimenting all the other players. Tell them how good they're doing so they can make mistakes. Thank you.
Binks will make a mistake there, Marsley. Up in front. Still been struggling with this ice part. We'll see what happens. As he goes in, I called it right there. And now Richie. Second place. Going to be pushing up behind Neil. And Richie has been having insane times going into this one. A little bit on the outside dirt. He's going to line that one up nicely behind Neil. You can't see him on your screen, but trust me, you can hear his engines. But Neil is up in front and will finally stop that, bleeding with a 109.5. About a second off of world record, but man, oh man, finally getting a first round, and it must feel good. That's it. That is the Neil we expected. So, starting to... oh, wait. Do we have a DNF? Binks DNF'd. Oof. With a DNF, that is a -15. Oh, no, -12. You're right. -12. I looked over at the chat because I missed it. All right, now it's a Perseverance by Roxy. Another one of the first few matches. But we are currently in the warm-ups. So whenever the players decide to DNF or when the timer runs out, we'll be getting into our next match. Or, excuse me, into our next map. Sorry, I am still waking up. I am still drinking some coffee. Usually by this point, I'm like 2-3 cups in of coffee, but still in 1 cup. All right, here we go. Mathematically, this could be our last map, but Binks and Marsley not too far behind. At this point, it's just going to be muscle memory for the boys. Since I did practice this, and man, as I said that, muscle memory did not kick in. And we saw Richie and Binks both falling out there, literally bumping into the wall in the same spot. So now Marsley is going to be chasing. Marsley has been able to get some pretty good times in the past on this map. I did get to check the leaderboard. Will he have the pace, be able to push hard enough? He's going to have to play every single corner as tight as possible to gain 0.44 behind now. Looks like he's starting to close the gap in. No, he's actually losing it. Thanks, camera. Scary jump here. Anything could happen at that point. A big clip can happen. Out in the plastic turn here. Staying as tight as possible. Don't want to go wide. And Neil will get that -0. And now we start to see the... Now we start cooking. Now we start cooking, folks. Let's see if it becomes a gourmet meal. Marsley with 19 points. Also in that danger zone now. Binks starting to fall into the danger zone. Richie has been sitting on the beach of Miami drinking a coconut. Won't say what's in it because I don't know what his age is. Richie and Binks doing a really good job in that grass. Getting good speed out of it and pushing up into the first and second place. Marsley out of the pack, just trying to find his way in. 3 players, all within a car length of each other. Oh, and Binks will clip that corner. So now Richie and Neil will be up in front battling it. Marsley waiting for any mistake to happen. Just keeping up. Good speed coming out of that drift, and that's going to allow Neil to push on to Richie. Richie plays this one's a little wide, so allows him to stay on the inside corner. Tries to get around that one. He does. Yeah. Oh, did not have enough speed. Unfortunately, played that one a little safe. And we are starting to see a repeat of disaster like last time, but he does need to finish this. Otherwise, he will get that minus 12 and put him into the last chance mode. Now, only down to 1 point. I'm not sure. I couldn't see from my angle. I'm not sure if you guys saw it on your angle, but it looked like he just took the drift a little bit too much and lost all that speed. It is a speed check finish. It's not a simple way. Richie must be feeling amazing right now, seeing everyone down into the teens and lower. And Richie still sitting all the way up in 71 points. I knew Richie was a good player. I didn't know he was this good. Speaking of Richie, he's got Binks and Marsley right behind, trying to make a move on him. Especially Binks. Neil has a lot more exit speed, though. Ends up going a little wider on that sliding turn. I forgot that was grass or plastic. My brain is not fully awake, so I'm not seeing all the surfaces. Binks will, though, push all the way up into front. Insanely good speed. Gonna try and keep that as tight as possible. Just like this, coming into the end. Will everyone make it? Oh, Binks did make it. I thought he didn't, and he bounced out. But he did get his car. He's got his wheels in just in time. So Neil, now on final chance. What do they call it here? Last chance? Final chance? Last chance. Okay. So at this point, Neil just cannot take last place. Doesn't matter what else is going on. Just cannot take last place. The second someone makes a mistake, Neil could be safe and just has to kind of ride it out. But he can still go for that first place and force someone down into the lower negatives. Maybe like Richie. If Richie would make a mistake, that would make it a little bit better for Marsley and Binks. Oh, but Neil gets a nose slide and just smacks that corner. It's the one danger of these maps with changing surfaces over and over again. Screw your angle up a tiny bit and you're just getting a nose slide right into a wall. Binks did make a mistake, though. He is falling way behind. If Neil just makes that final effort push, he could potentially catch up to Binks. Takes it a little wide, but more exit speed. Trying to keep this one close. But that looks like it's all she wrote for Neil. Neil will be the first one eliminated in this match. Unfortunately, just could not shake off anything. So Neil will be out. Marsley and Binks sitting at 6 and 4 points. Richie just pretty much waiting for the other players to bleed out. And it'll be, it's like a pretty free win for Richie, if I say so. So we're just waiting for this warm-up. Let them finish up. Last week we actually did see some players taking the medium route. Medium route has a I think it's like a, what do they have there? Cruise control? I think it's a cruise control. All right, here we go. Binks and Marsley. Marsley can't even afford to take a -4. Richie will look to give this one away, potentially. He gets a no slide right off the bat. Now it's Marsley versus Binks up in front. Oh, Marsley will end up clipping the back wheel. And then Binks clips the wall. What is this round right now? Maybe we can hop on board with Binks. We can get a good perspective of the pretty much the distance that one little clip made. The one nice thing about reactor down is that even if you do a small clip, because you got the reactor down, it pushes you. Yeah, I saw that happening. Binks will fall out from there, and Richie will actually be the one catching up to Binks. So maybe Richie can force a harder bleed onto Binks' score. Marsley is definitely the guy that needed this win to stay alive. But Richie will not be able to catch up. Unfortunately, that first mistake just ate away at his pace and could not do anything there. So just like that, we have both players. Oh no, Marsley only got a -2. Oh, so it's -2, -6, -9. I didn't get to see much of last week's rounds, unfortunately, as I was currently competing as well. So now Binks is on last chance. And I believe we will be playing for all positions. Richie, not looking too characteristic for himself, but as I said, he gets himself up in front. Marsley makes a big mistake. And that may let Binks stay alive for one more round, but that all comes down to if Binks doesn't make a mistake. Doing a good job. He's even up in the lead now. This is exactly what we needed to see from Binks. Richie's starting to fall behind more and more. Marsley pushing up into that second place. Oh, Marsley will take air there. Not looking good for Marsley. Does he even have enough speed for this? Oh, he just barely does. But that is going to keep Binks alive for another round. Marsley will now fall into last chance. So as long as Richie can finish in first place, we will have one of the two eliminated for third place. Just like that, it looks like Binks will actually be the one. Yep, Binks will be the one out. Taking the DNF already. And I think that means Marsley is safe. I would be blown away if two players can get eliminated in the same match. I think that counts as the last place. So this is more of just a practice round. Richie and Marsley just going to see who has the better pace this round. And this is actually a great round too for the two of them. So unfortunately, this round doesn't mean much, but the most it can mean for is Marsley to actually get Richie to lose more points. Because at this point, Marsley is going to be playing a potentially long game of defense, just constantly having to beat Richie. But with Richie's pace, this match it does not look like that is possible, because Richie, again, will take first place. And only a -2. The bleed is so small. So that is a GG to Binks. Binks will take third place. Marsley now has to get first place for 7 rounds in a row. 5 will put last chance. No, 6. Can I do my math? Never mind. Marsley's out. That's a GG. Richie can just walk this one in. Sucks that this is the last 2 rounds, but I feel that at this point, you know, it's pretty much GG. That's it. That's going to be the first match. First match of 2 today. As Richie will take first place. That's some good points for Richie. Looking at the standings, Richie is... he was sitting in 13th place. But with this first place, I will give him 10 points, jumping him up into 14th place. I believe last place only gets 2 points, so that will have Neil knocked down a little bit farther. Unfortunate that it happened that way, but it will happen that way. Neil will start to fall down a little bit farther. I mean, just in the end of the day, to even make it into Div 1 is just mind-blowing. That's going to be it for this one. The next match will be, I believe, in about 15 minutes. So I believe we will be hopping into a break for a little bit as we start to get ready for our next round. I don't know if my production team is there. Modals, are you there? There we go. Hello. There we go. Now I'm on camera. But yeah, so it's a bit of an unfortunate match for Neil. But hopefully he'll be able to bounce back a little bit. And we will see that in the next game. Coming up in the 4th match will be Neil taking on Ipos, Azox, and Wizzy. So if you thought that last match was rough, this next one's going to be tougher. So don't go too far, folks. We'll be back in just a little bit.
By the way, everyone, hopefully you all can hear me okay. If you have TikTok, please make sure you check out the Damascus Gaming TikTok. It's under @Damascus Esports. We are putting up a lot of content on that TikTok, including Trackmania and Mortal Kombat content. Check it out. Oh, and what's going on, Dakota? We got a YouTube guy hanging out on that side of the house. Welcome to the stream, sir. And yeah, shameless plug. Shameless plug. I don't even care. We'll be back here in about 3 minutes.
It just tends to mess with you. I'm guessing I'm completely muted. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So we had some things going on in the background. So don't expect the best of the best. We're just cruising today. Unfortunately, things like that happens. Some things come up in the background, especially on game day. It always seems to happen like that. So we're just gonna be cruising. We're just gonna be having a good time. We're gonna just enjoy some Trackmania overall. I mean, we have some insane players in this match. Again, Epos, Wizzy, like both insanely good players. Azox also an insanely good player. So no matter what, we're going to get some good Trackmania out of this one, and the match should be starting relatively soon. And I think I remember the password to get in here. Looks like I did. Yeah, so the match is about to be underway. All 4 players are in and warming up. Hopefully we can get some shakeouts, you know, just we'll see something come out of nowhere. And you know what, I just realized I keep forgetting there is a pick ban that happens, and I think I just missed it. Not sure who picked what. I'm gonna see if I can figure that out real quick as we get this one on. So let's get the screen onto the gamers, because it's about to be game time. All right. So first map pick was Ruby. Then we got Perseverance, Meltdown, Miata. And then we just continuously keep rotating. I am drawing a blank on that 5th map. Can anyone remind me on the 5th map that got banned? So I am drawing the biggest blank of my life right now. Yeah, no, I'm drawing a blank on that last map that got banned. Anywho. Players will be warming up. They get 1 free round of warm-up, and they can choose to either DNF it or to play out the entire round. Here we go. We are starting up And we'll be starting on Ruby. 4 rounds, 100 points on the board. Good luck, have fun to all the players. Good start for all 4 players. Azox is looking to try to get a push-up in the front, but denied by Epos. And Epos is definitely one of the players, or Epos, I should say, excuse me. One of the players we're going to be watching out for 100% because Epos is just an insanely good player. Wizzy too. Wizzy the wheelman. So it blows my mind that people could play this game on wheel. I feel like my arms would fall off. Neil is the farthest back right now, 0.2 behind, but slowly gaining. Wizzy up in front, Epos chasing him down. Coming into the last few turns. The cursed jump into the water and out into the dirt. This is such a random clip that you can get. So you do want to hold that left side to get a good line here. Neil will avoid the pole and take 3rd place. Now that looks a lot better than last match, but Epos with a -0 and a 110.8. That is a really good time, right outside the top 10 best times. And if those are the kind of times we're going to be seeing in this match, you know it's going to be a tight one. On to round 2. Azox was the one who took the biggest hit with the -10 in the first round. Look to see if Azox can respond and get himself back up to stop the bleeding. It is early, but that bleeding can happen fast. Neil, unfortunately, will make a mistake. So jumping on board with Azox, as you see on your screen. And Post goes for a really weird line there. I wasn't sure why he was that wide. But still in 2nd place. Got a car length, or within the car, I should say, of Wizzy. 0.06 difference between the 2 players. And Epos is just not letting Wizzy run away with this one. Closing in on the gap. He takes a little bit of air, so he loses a bit of that speed. Still does a good job being able to squeeze up against Wizzy. Wizzy just really taking advantage of those smooth turns he could take. See if anyone takes a clip. No one clips. Azox takes the most air, but he'll fall behind, and Epos able to get around that bend and push in nicely to get that snipe on Wizzy. 0.03 and a 110.9. Still excellent time. And a great round out of the 2 of them. So Epos will still keep full 100% points as we go into round 3. Neil and Azox, first 2 to fall into the 80s. Wizzy just barely hanging in the 90s. I don't normally, usually when I'm casting, I don't normally interact with the chat, but I am kind of interested to know. All my chat who plays Trackmania, what do you prefer, cup or reverse cup? I'd love to actually get some opinions on that one, because as a TO myself, I'm always curious what the community likes the best. But as I wait for those answers to fill in, Wizzy will be jumping up in front. Neil trying to get any closure as he goes from 2nd to 4th, back up to 2nd as a mistake comes out of 2 players. The bottom 2 players now up in front. Neil and Azox up in front. Epos ends up falling all the way back into 4th place behind Wizzy. This is a good chance for Neil and Azox to come back a little bit. This will be the first time we will see Epos losing points. And he goes from taking 1st place every time to falling all the way in last, dropping him down to 90 points. Neil will only take the -4. Azox gets that 1st place. That is the one he needs. That is the one he needs for sure. So now Neil will fall down to last place, but not by far. Wizzy will be joining in the 80s with Azox and Neil. Excuse me, Epos taking the biggest hit out of them all. Last round on Ruby. After that, we will be moving on to Perseverance. Good start out of Epos and Wizzy again. Up in front, Neil will be the one trailing behind. Azox fortunately made an early mistake, falling back 0.3 behind the crowd and falling further back. This is one of the hardest things about these maps. These maps are calculated based on not making mistakes. They're very tight and require speed to be able to make certain turns, drifts, and all the fancy words you can think about in Trackmania. As he makes a little bit of a mistake, allowing Neil to push up into second place, trailing behind Epos by a 0.1. Neil just taking really tight turns. Trying to gain up as much as he can, falls a little bit farther back. Epos is just really making good pushes here. Neil with a good line, should line up here perfectly. He does, and will take second place again. Wizzy will fall down into third, and Azox will have to take that -10, and that's going to drop him much lower than Neil. Wizzy with a -7 will drop him down into the 70s as well. Epos still hanging out up in the 90s. So we are starting to see a gap right in that first round, as Epos is kind of starting to feel that that beach vibe of relaxing a little bit, while the other three are relatively neck and neck right now. 73, 75, 78. Wizzy on the top of the three, Azox on the bottom. Definitely a better match than last match for Neil. But I do know that Neil and Epos are good buds, so maybe just being able to... Sometimes driving in the same match as one of your friends can definitely hype you up. It makes you feel a bit better. It almost feels like you're just home playing some private matches with some buddies. So hopefully that will bring up his spirits a little bit more as we're getting through the warm-up here. Again, players are able to completely play an entire lap for free, or if they all decide to DNF, we move on right away. But with the level of these maps, I do not blame them for having to get a good warm-up on these maps. Because you don't see these maps for like another 20-so minutes, I think. 15, 20 minutes, 4 maps, 4 rounds, about a minute. Got some math. I ain't doing it. Too early for me. Neil will do his little dance, and here we go. Into the second map, which is Perseverance by Roxy. Round 1 of 4, and off we go. Good start by all 4 players, staying within the pack of each other. Beautiful outside dirt by Wizzy. But Epos still keeps the most speed out of that drift and starts to break away from the crowd. 0.1 ahead by the second player. Ooh, Wizzy and Neil do a really nice job in that grass. Epos took a weirder line, so that's going to allow Neil and Wizzy to both touch the corner at the same exact time, but unfortunately for Neil, you're versing a wheel player, so even with a mistake, Wizzy's going to be able to hit... Huh? I think Azox forgot where the track was and decided to try to reroute the track last second. Didn't work out for him too well. So just like that, Epos up in front. Pretty much a free round for him. And I know last time we said that. Unfortunately, Neil just clipped the corner. But Epos is a monster at this game, so yeah, it looks good for him. Wizzy will walk in second. Neil taking in third. Azox found the track. Azox taking the biggest hit again. Neil and Wizzy both still hanging out relatively close to each other. The gap will start to spread a tiny bit as Azox and Neil will both fall into the 60s. Azox down at 63. Wizzy still hanging out in the 70s, and Epos forgot what it was like to lose. Epos literally took 1 4th place round. That's it. He's been hanging out in first place the entire time. Not surprised at all. Neil unfortunately has a mistake in that last turn. So that will have him fall behind, but he's still not too far from the pack. Any mistake from anyone else will not allow Neil to get back into this race. You have to start pushing a little bit harder. Wizzy will be the one to make the mistake, allowing Neil to capitalize on that and push into third place now. Epos and Azox up in front. Azox remembered where the track was this time, so you will still hold on to second place. Neil, nice outside dirt. We'll try to push and keep that third place. You really don't want to get that that minus 10 in fourth place. Ooh, Azox makes a mistake. That's going to allow Neil again to go into second place. This is the one beautiful thing about Trackmania. Sometimes you just got to let the other player make the mistake. And Neil's the one that made the mistake. Unfortunately for him, Azox misses the finish. Was able to jump over to his POV last second there. Misses it again. He's got plenty of time. Whoa. So Neil will only take that minus 7, keeping him in the 60s for now. Azox will drop farther now. Everyone is in their own 10s. 53 for Azox, 61 for Neil. Wizzy at 70 and Epos forgot what it was like to lose points. Once someone gets eliminated, Epos will have to start losing points. It does shift to a minus 2. Neil ends up clipping that outside dirt. So again, we'll be playing from far behind, jumping on board with Wizzy. Not too far behind everybody else. Azox definitely has a really good pace. He definitely can make some good pushes. But one little mistake, like we see our boy Neil, and Azox tends to fall pretty far back. His mistakes tend to be really bad mistakes. Let's see if he'll be able to finally get some points off of Eppo's board. Wizzy did close into the gap. Everyone's within a second of each other now. As I say that, Wizzy falls a little bit behind, but starts to overtake into second place. And trying to make that real good push. Epos goes a little bit wide here, and it's going to allow him to get more exit speed, but Wizzy actually somehow pulls out more speed of that turn. Not really sure how he got more speed of there, but he's going to go a little bit wide on this finish, and that's going to allow Epos to take that first place again. Still not losing any points. Wizzy, valid push there. Unfortunately, does not finish that one. 111.3. That's going to keep him just outside the top 10 best times. Still pretty good times, though, as we go into the last round here on Perseverance. Everyone, again, still within their own 10s. Epos still has not lost a match. Caster Curse is not strong enough for this one. Neil goes for a lot more inside line, so it's going to be less speed as everyone starts to catch up on him. But Neil doing a good job, still recovering from that one little drift and keeping himself up in front. Epos trying to really push these corners now. Get back up in front. Wizzy will be there with him. Azox made a huge mistake, plus 5 seconds. So he's going to be down to 36 points. Potentially 34 if he cannot finish this. Wizzy ends up clipping his back wheel against the wall. So now he's out of there. Oh, and then Neil had the opportunity of the lifetime to finally take some points off of Epos, but I think he clipped on the transition. But Azox just made such a big mistake at this point that Neil is looking to just finish this one out. But Azox has a lot of speed as he made the mistake early, so let's see if Neil has enough speed to make this turn. He does. Should be fine. He is good. Oh, wait, Wizzy. Hello? Don't they? There it is. Oops. And Wizzy and Neil trading second places like that, and Neil will only take a -4. Azox dropping all the way down to 36. It is a huge gap right now. I gotta check my pick'ems, guys. What the heck? I don't even remember what I put on this one. What did I put? What did I put? I think I put Epos first. I'd be surprised if I didn't. Don't forget there are pick'ems, folks, if you want to enjoy your pick'ems. Ah, son of a biscuit. I only did the pick for round 3. I forgot to do pick 4. Whoops. And my pick'ems were completely off. All right. I know my my stuff. So on to Meltdown we go. My mime. One's got some ice on here. And I know how much everyone in the community just loves ice so much. Yeah, especially when you got to do a 360. So we got 3 DNFs. Azox is the last one. If he DNFs, we move on. If he wants to play it out, he can. And here we go. Into the match we go. Azox really needs to look for some bounce back. Listen, Moodles, I know you're on that DG account. Don't bury yourself in this grave with me, man. just be like everyone else and hate ice. I don't want you to fall down here with me. Keep sticking. You'll find my grave down there somewhere. I swear I'm down in the ground. I'm in that mud somewhere. Speaking of in the mud, no one there at the moment. Wizzy takes a little bit of a tough return there, so he's gonna fall way behind Neil cooking up a meal. We have an emote like that, a meal, like spam this meal to help out Neil. I know we have Seal. Apples again up in front, Neil to follow. Bit more spread out between the two players in the back. Ooh, Azox making a push here. Neil will fall into third at the last second. Azox really pushing that ice. And only a -4, keeping him in the 30s as Neil is right on that edge. Sorry, I'm just reading the chat. Spam this meal to fatten up Neil. I think he's good. Oh! There we go. The Mud is calling. Mud is calling for 2 players. Epos will make the mistake. It was during the reactor down, so I thought it wouldn't be too bad, but it was bad. 0.7 behind and drifting back. Wizzy and Neil will be up in the front now, battling it out. Will Epos finally have a taste of defeat and lose some points? It's down to Wizzy and Neil. Up into the ice, 360 spin around, boom. Nicely done. Neil gets the grip first. That's one of the trickiest things I can imagine for wheel players. Neil also grips the wall. It's a nice wall, Neil. I know it is, but we don't want that wall. Epos will be able to jump up into second place. Again, down to Wizzy to not make any mistakes and finally have Epos lose some points. Oh God, Neil almost did not make that one. Now, if I remember correctly, Epos lost points. Azox will not make that one. He could actually take a -12, which is not good being the bottom guy. Does he get it? Nope, he doesn't. That's a -12 right there. That's a lot of points gone. Epos will finally take a second deficit of points. Last time Epos saw points leave, I believe it was round 2 or 3 of the first map. We're on the 3rd map, if I remember correctly. Yeah, we are on the 3rd map. That means for I believe 8 rounds in a row. I remember, if I'm doing my math correctly, 8 rounds in a row, Epos came in first place. It took 8 rounds for someone in this lobby to knock him down a little bit. Speaking about knockdown, Neil unfortunately making a mistake there. But we have seen how well Neil can handle this ice part. all about grabbing that grip as soon as you can and getting the turn going. Everyone else up in front will start running away. Wizzy and Azox up in front will be battling for that second and third place. Epos just hanging out in first place right now. But Azox has been able to get a really tight turn on this ice. Doesn't make any difference, though. Azox will take that second place. And a 108.8. Right outside the top 10 again. Epos has just been hanging out on the probably top 12, top 13 of the leaderboard of every single map. Final round though here on Meltdown. Azox, even losing and DNFing, is not in a position to be last chance into the next map. So he'll have a little bit of room to kind of get himself back into the next map. And as I call out his name, Azox makes a mistake and falls all the way into last place. Or no, was that Epos? Oh, that was Epos. My bad. I saw something black and gray fall back. I didn't know if it was the name or the car. Whatever way, Epos will fall back. It looks like it'll be another round where Epos will finally start to feel a little bit more pressure, but not enough to phase the guy. Neil goes for a really inside line there and is able to stay up in front. But Wizzy has a little bit more exit speed and starting to gain up on Neil. Wizzy's going to really start this outside dirt much earlier. Gives him a little bit more exit speed. No, Neil will still be holding up in front. Wizzy will actually hit the pole, and Neil will walk away in first place here. And that is big time needed, as that could put Wizzy in. He will take fourth place, and Epos will just clean this one up. Again, another minus 10 for Epos. Epos has only lost 3 times, and 2 of them were the minus 10s. Epos didn't realize he could have just played that one smoothly and been fine. And now on to Miata. Neil's still hanging out in the 20s. Wizzy is starting to fall down towards him and Azox. He's talking about which map should have actually been banned. Huh. Well, these guys go from talking about what map they should have picked to which side in CS2 is mid on rating. Oh, man. Trackmania in a nutshell, folks. On to Kerberos' map, which is Miata. A lot of good technical drifts coming out in this one. Should be right at home for Neil. Love these creative routes, though. Really taking advantage of vanilla blocks and coming out with something else. It's really cool to see that. Oh, a mistake earlier, and that looks like that was Azox. Yeah, that was Azox who falls back. Neil, unfortunately, will again fall behind. Back to fourth place, so top on board with Wizzy. There's Wizzy and Epos up in front. Both of them go for the risk. A nice lead on there. Epos with a 0.18 lead. Wizzy trying to close in, but ends up drifting a little bit too hard there, so lost a lot of his speed. Currently just hanging out in that gear 3. Barely got the gear 4 in time and was able to finish that one out. Neil will take that last place, unfortunately. and drop down to 13 points. But Azox is still the one closest to getting that last chance first. Wizzy still in the 30s, sitting at 31, and Epos has seen the lowest amount of points he has seen all match at 76 points. I think it's safe to say who will be winning this match. Epos actually, as I call that out, he's all the way in the back. Neil, unfortunately, will clip that wall. Azox will clip the wall. Let's actually stay on board with Neil and see if he can make a push out of last place. The rest of the crowd not too far ahead. Any mistake will allow Neil to kind of come back up. A little bit of awkward dirt there. Still able to do a nice line and able to get past Azox. Giving him that third place. Does not clip. Great landing, actually. Wizzy and Epos are just neck and neck at this point, and Neil is just watching and waiting and watching. Seeing if either of them make a mistake. Has a gear 3, gets the gear 4 in time. Nice snap there to snag on that gear 4 and take third place. So Azox is now in last chance mode. Neil has a few more rounds, potentially. Epos still forgetting what it's like to be anywhere under 50 points. Was he at 27? Good luck to Azox. Just can't take fourth place. That's it. Good start by everyone. Tight drifts. Want to stay as close to those corners and those walls as possible to get the best exit speed as possible. Neil passes the spot where he made the mistake last time, and Azox may live to see another day as Wizzy clips the wall. Beautifully done through the slaloms. Now it's going to be a battle between Epos and Neil. Azox right behind them, waiting for any mistake. Good jump by both players up in front. Epos will go a little bit wider and get a bit more exit speed out of this one. You can see him starting to really push. But Neil actually ends up getting a better line around that curve. 1.5 behind the final jump here. Epos will take a first place again. Neil will to follow. And Wizzy actually almost caught up to Azox, but that will drop him down to 17 points. Neil still has at least another round before seeing that last chance. No matter what, good round by them. What's the prize pool? I actually don't know. Azox still hanging out in that last chance. Again, cannot come in last place. Currently up in front. Ooh, but gets a no slide. And I wouldn't even be surprised if he DNFs at this point. No, he's going to play this one out. Good for him. Neil's going to be up in front with Epos and Wizzy chasing behind. Playing that outside dirt nicely there as Epos will make his mistake behind him. Wizzy is the one to chase now. 0.18 behind through the slums of the sausage. Tight drifts. Really try to angle this one properly where you're not oversteering. Don't want to lose speed. Neil is doing a beautiful job just locking on that outside dirt. Really building up a lot of that speed again on the outside. Just want to tag it over this hill so you don't take any air time. And nicely done there, Neil. With, again, a nice drift. Able to get good exit speed out of that one. But, oh, he took some air, and Wizzy is going to get up in front of him. Neil will take second place, and that will put him in last chance mode. Oh, that was a rough one there. GG's to Azox, who will be taking fourth place in this match up number 4. So Neil's on last chance, and we are going on to the next map, which is Ruby. This is a little bit of a rougher one. We have seen some mistakes that happen, so hopefully we'll see a bounce back. But as expected, Wizzy and Epos. Not really near last chance. Neil will have to... He only needs to take second place, but if I were him, going for that first place would be a big deal. Epos opts to DNF, so Wizzy and Neil, do not blame Neil for taking the entire warm-up, as he's going to have to lock himself back into this map. As we take this moment for the match to start, I do want to remind people that mental health is very important. So please, if you are feeling burnt out, if you are feeling any sort of negativity, remember that is more important than some dumb video game. Okay, I just want to throw that out there. Mental health awareness. Sure, we got a month for it, but it is all year, every day, 365 days to be aware of that. If you need help, reach out. Always speak to a friend, a family member, anything. So here we go. Neil on last chance. Cannot take last place. Wizzy definitely does not want to take last place, as he will get smacked hard losing points. Neil, unfortunately, will make that clip, and that could look like a GG, but Neil's going to play it out. Well, up on board with Wizzy as we see the wheelman himself taking on Epos. Wizzy doing a good job keeping it close with Epos. Epos looking for any extra speed he can get on some of these exits. As you see there, he goes a little bit wider, and that gives him a lot more exit speed. Wizzy ends up eating the gear there, but with the reactor down, it shouldn't affect him too much. But you can see the difference right now. 0.16 and falling behind to a 0.36. If Wizzy has his HUD on at any point, he needs to realize that Neil is pretty far back. Cannot afford to make a mistake and eliminate Neil. No clips from either Epos or Wizzy coming into the final here. And that, folks, is going to be a GG for Neil, taking third place. So even though he falls into third, we are at the final matchup between the two Epos and Wizzy. Wizzy has to come in for 7 times to win this match. No, 7 times to put Epos into a last chance. Wizzy can only afford 2 losses before going into last chance, because I think it's a -10, if I remember correctly. It is the battle of the Titans from the last chance qualifier players. Both Epos and Wizzy on their own respectable teams during the World Tour Championship Series part. Both made it through the last chance qualifiers, so these guys have shown what they can do against the rest of the world, and now they are head-to-head again. For anyone that was here just strictly for DG and Neil, I want to thank you for tuning in. It was an unfortunate day of matches, but it happens to the rest of us. We are humans. We're not robots. We're not going to have a perfect day every day. Thank you for tuning in. For anyone else that's here to finish the match, Wizzy. Oh, it's a -8. Okay. So Wizzy now cannot afford to lose. He only is allowed to have 1 more loss. And there's going to be a lot more rounds than I thought there were. I thought there were -10s. Nope, there are -8s. So Wizzy's going to have to come in first place 7 more times now to get Epos into the last chance. And can only afford to lose once. Otherwise, he'll fall into last chance himself into there, and it's a GG for this round. Looks like Wizzy will drive this one out. And Epos just needs to finish. Just a reminder, folks, it's next week, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, will be the Pan American Trackmania Cup. It is for all players from North, Central, South America. And Exotica will be playing in that one. He actually, I believe, if I remember correctly, qualified into the championship bracket, so he will not be playing next week. But he gets a free ride to the second weekend. I will be playing next week. And of course, I'm a representative of Air and Damascus Gaming. Is he now in that last chance? Epos with 59 points. That is a lot of rounds to go through if you're a Wizzy. It is possible. Wizzy definitely does have the pace to do it, but reversing a Titan that is Epos, it's going to be a rough one. Epos actually makes a mistake early. Goes for that wider turn. Try to get more exit speed, but he ended up dropping the gear. So he doesn't get as much exit speed as he was probably looking for. Tags the wall, and Wizzy would live to see another round as long as he can finish it. I never knew how hard it would be to cast a one-on-one. It's looking like a free round for Wizzy as long as he doesn't make a mistake here. Epos will just slam the wall. Epos still needs to finish, though. Otherwise, it will be a -10, I believe. Drag me into VC and Outcast. I am in a different VC. I am nowhere to be seen. You cannot find me. All right, on to the next one. Perseverance. Again, Wizzy just needs to survive for about 6 or 7 more rounds, I believe. I'm in your walls. Oh no. Epos fanboy. All right, here we go. Potentially the last round or one of many rounds. That's a good start for Epos. Wizzy will be falling back a little bit, but this is a very good map for the wheelman himself. A lot of sections that will allow him to get nice smooth steering, build up a lot of speed. As you can see, start to close up on Epos there. Looking to try to get even tighter here. 0.07 of a difference. Close to that corner, but Wizzy makes it through. Epos still holding that lead and growing stronger. 0.16 or 116. And just like that, Wizzy makes a bit of a mistake. Epos cannot touch that wall. Wizzy is the one to touch the wall. So if Epos turns his HUD on for 1 second, he'll see that 0.6 difference. Walk it in. And we'll have Epos as our winner for match number 4. As expected, of course. Epos is a Titan in this game. And that is it. GG to all. Wizzy will take second place. Well played by everyone. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Neil was able to bounce back a little bit more on that second match, taking third place, so he gets a few extra points. I believe he gets 4 points, if I remember correctly. I don't have it in front of me, but more points and more points anyway. So we will see the standings by probably in the next few minutes. So you can always check that out on the eCircuit something. What's the website? eCircuitmania.com. They are updating everything there on the standings as well as Liquipedia. I am a Liquipedia baby since I came from Rocket League. I'll always be paying attention to that. But anyway, thank you very much, everyone, for watching. And remember to follow the channel for everything Damascus Gaming that you want to follow will be here. Join the Discord and check out their Twitter for information about all the matches that are happening, with whether it's Trackmania, Mortal Kombat, or some tournaments that are being held in all variety of games. Thank you very much, Damascus Gaming, for having me here on the stream. I've been Randomized. I've enjoyed my time here casting for you all, and we will see you next week. So have a good night and good luck.